What some call drive-by towns, the Arizona Highways TV crew call must-stops. Today we are taking a couple of exits off I-10 between Phoenix and Tucson to explore the skydive capital of the world, the first prehistoric and cultural reserve in the United States, and much more. We're having some fun in Eloy and Coolidge. You may have seen these odd-looking tubes sticking up into the sky as you pass along I-10 between Phoenix and Tucson.
Once you get in there and fly, you know why the birds sing.
Those are wind tunnels here at SkyVenture Arizona in Eloy, on the drop zone at Skydiving Arizona.
It's a skydiving simulating wind tunnel, so where people can hop in here and come learn how to fly their bodies and do what they're doing in here to be better out in the sky. We've got 4 fans up top. It's like a big vacuum. We're pulling in air from outside into the flight chamber. Right now we've got some kids flying and they're just learning how to be better flyers. They're working on the belly flying skills. We got probably 80 miles an hour wind in here right now for these people to fly around.
And just look at them go.
Predominantly, this is a skydiving training tool. This is what people come and learn how to fly their body a lot faster. On a normal skydive, you get about 45 seconds to learn how to perform the skill. Here, generally, people fly 2 minutes straight, so you're getting almost 4 jumps in one flight in the wind tunnel. It's just like skydiving, pretty much, except there's a lot of reference points that we don't have in the sky. In the sky, you might be thinking you're doing great, but you might be flying backwards the whole time. Well, in here, if your feet were to keep touching the wall, that's going to tell you you're going backwards the whole time.
And like skydiving, it's an adrenaline rush.
If you have an addictive personality, you're going to be hooked right away.
Now, are you ready to fly? Our director of photography is ready to spread his wings. After watching a quick video, Aaron gets some one-on-one instruction.
Yeah, if you try to go in there like this right away, all the surface area wants to push you back out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Aaron is ready to fly. We won't say how old Aaron is, but Jason says kids as young as 3 can come and learn to fly.
Every Sunday we have kids club, kids that have already done one first-time flyer experience. They get 5 minutes with free instruction. It's $50. It's every Sunday at 3 p.m. Now, when I say it's 5 minutes, you can always add more time onto that if you want.
We do want to point out, if you bring your kids and their friends, their parent or guardian must sign a waiver and have it notarized. Otherwise, they're grounded.
We all dream of flying when we're kids. The opportunity's right here. To make those dreams come true, just come down and see us.
We're the halfway point between Phoenix and Tucson. This stands as a community, not only locally, but for those coming out of town, coming here, and I think they'll find something unique here.
George and Elizabeth Flores put the family in La Paloma Family Restaurant.
I love the fact that I work with my family. I love the fact that I know a lot of community members. They're not just community members, they're part of our family.
Attention in the house. Tradition here is what? When we have a birthday, we sing, right?
Elizabeth calls La Paloma her home away from home and hopes you will too.
Happy birthday to you.
And their Mexican-American restaurant is also at the heart of the Eloy community.
It just kind of lives and breathes not only the restaurant, but the community and family and faith, and as you can see, culture as well.
If you look around at the art, a lot of organizations had donated something that they wanted to celebrate the Hispanic heritage.
It brings authentic to the community, especially in a small rural community where we're all family. And so we want to support each other. And so when we have a family that's here that started a business, we want to continue supporting them.
Eloy is what I know. I love Eloy. I like to give back to the community and I like to help others, and in helping others, food is always helpful. Sharing is caring, and that's what I like to do.
She says her recipes have been handed down from generation to generation.
My grandma, my mom, my dad, it's all family recipes followed down and added to, and it's a little bit of everybody.
With her love of family and her hometown, Elizabeth has made sure to make Eloy a key ingredient.
People come to eat Eloy tacos, and it's ground beef patted on the tortilla, deep fried, and served with rice and beans. So you get 2 tacos, rice and beans, and it's very popular.
Other dishes also reflect her love of the community.
Tall Tick Burger also has a history from here. There was an old restaurant called the Tall Tick Taproom, and it was known for its burger. So when we took over the restaurant, that recipe did come with the restaurant. It's a nice, juicy burger.
They've started serving margaritas and micheladas, and so we've come here after work and enjoyed them.
Fajitas just make you hungry. You know, they come out steaming, and when one customer orders it, then it makes the other customers want to, I wish I would have ordered that. So you have bell peppers, onions, tomatoes, and if you want to add chili to it, you can. Rice, beans, sour cream, cheese, how's it works. Liz's enchiladas are one of the best. Of course, I'm Liz, so it's made with cheese. Red sauce, it's a red homemade sauce. It has rice and beans, cheese on top. That is my favorite plate.
I know her recipes go back a few generations, so that's great. You know, it's tried and true. The fish is what brings me in the most. I'm a pescatarian, so having a nice place to come eat fish locally is great. And if I'm here during the week, it's usually their enchiladas or their chile relleno.
We know the food, we know how it tastes. The salsa's amazing, the sopapillas. You eat one, you're gonna eat 2. That's how good it is. It's home, it's the recipes from home that they bring to us, and so you just get addicted to it.
Elizabeth's husband bought her the restaurant in 2018 so she could fulfill her dream.
He was a prior law enforcement officer. He decided to retire, and he bought, my dream is this restaurant. I've always wanted a restaurant, and he said, okay, it was for sale, and they talked him into it, and he decided to buy it.
The pandemic was tough on business, but that didn't stop Elizabeth and her husband from giving back.
We've always catered. We've done some events out of town. You know, I've helped the church, different events. So I've always done something with food. We've adopted a lot of elderlies that are our friends now, and we take care of them. Some have become homebound, and they'll still call and we'll deliver. You know, we don't do delivery often, but we do cater to our community.
And the community is returning that love. Loyal customers pack the restaurant almost daily.
We've had families celebrate Christmas here. We've had families celebrate Thanksgiving. They haven't seen each other in a long time, and they meet halfway. It makes like if they're at home, but they're not at home, but yet this is home for them at the moment. So we are part of the community, and I want to continue to do that, and I just think that you'll find home here.
Arizona Highways TV is brought to you by APS, making every day brighter, and the Arizona Office of Tourism. Here in the heart of Coolidge, surrounded by agricultural fields, you'll find an amazing example of Native American history and ingenuity.
We are a cultural site. We have taken this very old site, and we're trying to preserve the culture that existed here.
The Casa Grande National Monument allows you to stand right in the middle of history.
The key feature would be the Great House.
Built in the early 1300s, The 4-story Great House, or Casa Grande, is a structural marvel.
The folks that lived here built this over 800 years ago and literally just dug up the soil, found the right type of soil so that they can mix water with it and turn it into a cement. And they built it by hand, layering this mud, and built it up 4 stories tall. And then some smaller ruins all the way around it, and these were structures that were anything from storage to living space, where they lived all around the Great House.
It was established as the nation's very first prehistoric and cultural reserve in 1892 by President Benjamin Harrison, and was declared a national monument in 1906.
The community doesn't build a 4-story building just because they wanted to. There was an importance to them. And that importance conveys itself right up to today.
The ruins have been written about by explorers since the 17th century.
They were engineers, they were self-educated, and they had figured things out just like they did in any very old ancient European culture.
The Casa Grande Ruins shows us a native society that thrived in the Sonoran Desert, growing corn, beans, and squash.
They were hunting, they were gathering, they were already starting agriculture in these little family groups, growing what they could along riverbanks.
Archaeologists have even found shells from the seacoast, pointing to expansive trade there.
Groups started to gather together and they engineered canals off of the river. Now they could control the water through these canals, start irrigating, and become a larger agricultural area. You have people that are working with the engineers to move the water. You have other people that are now just specializing in growing the crops, and you're starting to produce sometimes in things beyond your needs for the community, which allow you to trade some of those.
Today, it is a sacred site that connects not just one tribe, but 6.
One of them that we refer to as the 4 southern tribes, but they are in total the Otham people, closest of which are the Gila River Indian community here. But they are one people. They just divided by space, not so much by culture, but by space. And so they got the 4 southern tribes, those Otham people, and then the Zuni and the Hopi, that all claim affiliation to this site.
And the Park Service works very closely with their tribal ancestors.
It's their story. So we always want to make sure that we're working with them to tell their story, and to tell their story only when it's something that should be shared.
Your experience here starts as soon as you enter the gates.
There's a picnic area with a pollinator garden and some views out over some of the cultural sites. You can see a ball court and some of the sites that are below ground. To come into the site, you have to go through our visitor center, which actually brings you into a bookstore with a lot of written information and even some small gifts for people to take home with them. After you pass the bookstore, you'll walk through an L-shaped museum that gives you some artifacts from the site and a lot of panels telling you about the history.
And it's a history lesson that is free of charge. The Casa Grande Ruins is one of several national parks that don't charge an entry fee. And they tell us the best time to visit is November through Easter.
And this is the season when people want to come spend time outside and see places like this. And so come here, it's free.
We are at Mediterra Bakehouse in Coolidge, Arizona.
What makes this small-town bakehouse unique? They actually grow their bread.
I can't think of any other bakery that actually grows their own grain and mills it and uses it in their recipes. That makes us pretty special.
Mediterra partnered with a local farmer and planted 50 acres of heritage grains.
And we mill it here in-house as well, so that we're able to use those grains straight from the farm, milled here, and then used in the bread.
That means Mediterra bread is made from 100% Arizona-grown grain.
The system we've set up has allowed us to create bread using Arizona grain and to make it an Arizona product.
Kathy Chacon and Hunter Higgins run this small batch bakery.
We make artisan breads, all types of artisan breads. We use an ancient grain, and our starter is mainly a sourdough.
Ancient or heritage grains create a healthier bread because they're older strains of wheat that have been passed down from generation to generation without being manipulated.
So the ancient grains and the sourdoughs are used because they're non-GMO, and the sour breaks down the gluten, which helps with gluten insensitivities.
Hunter says milling their own grains gives them more control.
It allows us to use all the nutrients from the grain instead of like buying a store-bought flour where you might have only the starches instead of the proteins and the fats and the vitamins.
Mediterra uses European baking techniques. Nothing is automated. The dough is kneaded and shaped by hand.
The bench is where we shape all of our breads.
They are then placed onto linens or cornmeal to proof and get ready for 2 types of ovens: steam ovens for their artisan breads and rack ovens for buns and loaves. You've probably spotted their breads at Whole Foods and AJ's or at a farmer's market.
You can find us as far as Sierra Vista, all the way into Flagstaff. And you can buy it here. And a lot of people will drive miles and miles and miles just to come here.
And the drive is worth it. Imagine walking into the smell of fresh baked bread that Hunter says takes hours and hours to make just one loaf.
We'll mix the starters today that we're going to use in production tomorrow. And then once you mix that dough, it sits for another 4 hours before you shape it, and then another 2 to 4 hours before you bake it in the oven. So that total process lasts almost 24 hours before you get another loaf of bread. So all that care that goes into it creates a really nice flavor profile and nutrient-dense bread.
It's a labor of love.
Seasons come and seasons go on the Arizona highways, each one bringing with it a few more adventures. I think I've done about everything, or at least tried everything there is to pump the adrenaline out there. But way back in the beginning, one of my very first adventures on the Arizona highways is something that will no doubt stay with me forever. So that's why we decided to share it with you again. We are in the skydive capital of the world. This is the largest place where people come to skydive anywhere. There are a lot of reasons that make it such a popular place for skydiving, but mainly it's location, location, location. Last year, the area boasted over 300 pristine days of skydiving weather, lots of sun and no rain. It's also ideal because it's not in the path of any major airline routes. Just plenty of open space waiting for skydivers to fill, most of whom are willing and excited to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. Me, not so much. I have thought about it.
I think everybody should do it once.
When I was young and crazy,
If you're not scared, there's something wrong with you.
I thought someday I will skydive.
You're gonna want to do it again before you even land. Today's the day.
Call it peer pressure or perhaps a subconscious desire to overcome my fear of heights. The bottom line, when I woke up this morning, I had no intention of hurling myself out of an airplane 2.5 miles up. I'm sort of just kind of going through this, so I want to let you know there is a chance I will chicken out.
Under the parachute's gonna be that happy, calm, beautiful, but in free fall, it's gonna be very dramatic and exciting.
They insist it's safe because as a novice, you jump in tandem with an experienced instructor. But I can't stop thinking about one thing. Has anyone ever died in tandem?
No. We have 2 parachutes. If one fails to open properly, then we get rid of that one and we open the reserve parachute, the emergency parachute. We have automatic activation devices. If you jump out of the airplane and do nothing, the automatic opener will fire your emergency parachute.
After taking a short class, watching a video, and then signing my life away, we begin the final steps to be able to jump out of that airplane.
And I'm gonna say, ready, set, arch, and I'm gonna throw you out of the plane.
Oh my gosh. A little humor to add some levity to the situation, but I am still not believing that I'm going to jump. I am just going through the motions and trying to put up a brave front. The moment of truth has arrived, and it's time to get on board. But what these guys don't know, I'm not jumping. No way, no how. We are climbing to 13,000 feet. That's 2.5 miles up. And I repeat to myself, I'm not going to jump. I am not going to jump. I am not going to jump out of this plane. In fact, I'm having serious reservations right now. Why did I even get out of bed this morning? My instructor, Greg Foster, is hooking us together.
Lean back on me, just like this. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale.
Okay, at this point, I need to tell Greg that I've changed my mind. I don't want to jump. For some reason, though, I can't get the words out, and I'm clearly running out of time.
When we get in that door, you hold your harness just like this. Loop to your left and smile.
Okay, so it's happening. I feel paralyzed, but somehow I'm moving towards the door. It's happening so fast.
Is a real skydiver right there.
Robin, what'd you think of that?
I can't believe I did it.
Nice job.
How wild was that? Was that wild or what?
That's so you.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
I told you.
It was unbelievable.
I told you that would be good stuff, didn't I?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You did so good, sweetheart. Have you ever felt more alive?
Oh, that was unbelievable.
You go slide right out of this thing like a pair of pants.
Back safely on Arizona soil, it's difficult to put my feelings into words. I am never going to use that cliche again, saying, take your breath away, because nothing takes your breath away but this. It was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
You remember when you asked me to put that in words? Try to tell them what that feels like.
Can't. You have to experience it for yourself. I can't put it in words. Everything stopped. It was when the wind stopped and everything was calm, and it was like we were still.
Canopy
We were
open.
just, we really were flying. We were flying.
For sure.
We hope you enjoyed our I-10 detour in Eloy and Coolidge. Today we visited SkyVenture Indoor Skydiving, La Paloma Family Restaurant, and revisited my skydiving experience in Eloy. In Coolidge, we explored Casa Grande Ruins and Mediterra Bakery, where they use ancient grains grown in Arizona. Thanks everyone so much for watching. We hope we'll see you on the Arizona highways.